As we get closer and closer to the end of the year, we now begin the 5th book of the Torah, Sefer Devarim. And Sefer Devarim is effectively a farewell speech by Moshe Rabbeinu, as we dive into his parting words, his farewell speech, and ultimately his final actions, one of which was to translate the Torah into all 70 languages. As Moshe, based on the directive of Hashem, clearly had Ruach HaKodesh, he had the spiritual foresight to know that although the Jewish people are about to settle in Eretz Yisrael, to settle in the land of Israel for the first time since Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, unfortunately, this would not be a permanent residence, and the Jews would go into exile many times over. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu translated the Torah into all languages, so the Torah and Hashem's message could be accessible no matter where the Jewish people are in time. Interestingly enough, the Gemara tells us that in the times later on where the Greeks ruled Eretz Yisrael and had control over the Jewish people, the emperor at the time called 70 Chachamim, 70 rabbis, into their own separate room and asked them to translate the Torah into Greek. Miraculously, they all translated the Torah in the exact same manner as their other peers, showing how in Torah there are no inconsistencies. But why would they need to do that if Moshe Rabbeinu had already translated the Torah into every language? What exactly was the purpose of what they were doing? Furthermore, the Gemara tells us that this day that they were meant to translate the Torah into Greek was a day that was as bad as the creation of the golden calf, or the Chet HaEgel. But why? Moshe Rabbeinu did it all those years ago by the directive of Hashem, that it was a good thing, that Torah could be accessible. Why is translating the Torah here not just not good, but it's as bad as the golden calf? As bad as idol worship? What's going on here? So explains the Rebbe, we have to re-understand what exactly the Chet HaEgel was. Because although it was a terrible sin, the Jews did not necessarily have an evil intention behind what they did. The simple meaning of the psukim imply that the Jews needed a leader. They thought Moshe Rabbeinu died going on the mountain, and they needed a new intermediary to connect to between God and the people. So they thought that the golden calf was there to substitute for Moshe Rabbeinu. What they didn't understand was that Moshe Rabbeinu does not have to be physically present to be connected with us, and that even though he's gone for a longer period than you expect, even though the connection between us and God is sometimes not so apparent, does not mean it's gone. It's still very much there, doing what it does best. The people thought they couldn't see Moshe Rabbeinu, so they created a substitute, which, while it wasn't evil intentions, was a terrible Aveira. It was a very bad sin, because it contested the very way Hashem connects to us. So when the Greek emperor asked the 70 rabbis to translate the Torah into Greek, he was not doing it for the same reason that Moshe Rabbeinu did it, which was to make Torah more accessible, to spread that connection between God through him to us, to the world. It was to cause further friction, to create a new intermediary, that this is the Torah, that the approved Greek version is the only new way that Jewish people are allowed to connect with Hashem. And that was the very same issue of the golden calf, and therefore it was just as bad. Miraculously, the rabbis still were able to hold strong and to translate the Torah in an equal, perfect manner, which was ultimately able to keep the purity and the perfection of Torah preserved through generations. And the lesson for us is clear, because clearly here Hashem is sending us a message. We might not always have a physical Moshe Rabbeinu to look at. We might not see our physical connection to Hashem in an open way, but Torah is accessible wherever you go. That is something that Moshe Rabbeinu initiated all those years ago, and something that we still see today, that Torah is accessible in any language, in any format, in any way a person could desire. And it's our job to use those resources, to use the Torah that we have and change the world with it, to go out and elevate the world, ultimately refining all the impure physical things, leading us to the coming of Mashiach. May he come speedily in our days. Wishing you a good Shabbos.